Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. I'm so excited. Our guest today is an amazing guy. Every time he speaks, people are just in stitches. No pressure. He is amazing. He is a celebrity bush cook. His name is Ranger Nick, and he's coming to us live from New South Wales, out in the bush, in the Wales. Hello and welcome, Nick. Ranger Nick, welcome.
Top of the day, Aldwyn. It's lovely to be here. You're looking fabulous after your little run to the powder room there.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ranger Nick, now, you just mentioned before you're known as the Wally Lewis of bush cooking. Is that right? Wally
Yeah.
Lewis
On
of
the
bush
radio, Danny P often refers to me as the Wally Lewis of camp oven cooking, or the Croc Dundee of camp oven cooking.
Yeah, fantastic. So how did you get into camp oven cooking?
Well, it's something I've been exposed to most of my life. We'd go out working with the old man, and being from a large family, so I'm the baby of 10, the scrapings from the pot, if you don't mind me saying. When you were up you wouldn't see Dad unless you went to work with him. There was the odd fishing trip, and they were a lot of fun. It was good to see him relax, but he was always working. He worked 24/7. He's an unbelievable man. I don't know how he did it or how he kept going, to be honest with you. But while we were working at lunchtime, we'd light a fire, and mid afternoon, someone would have the job of going up and putting some dinner on. So once you set the meals, it was get your sorry tail back out here ring barking or post hole digging, because you're not hanging around in the camp. I need you working. So I guess I developed a few skills with a set and forget type technique, so that I could do what I needed to do while I was outdoors. So that's kind of how I was exposed to it. As far as the professional side of it goes, I can get. Do you want a long story or a short one, Aldwyn?
Yeah, look, we've got an hour for this interview, so say whatever you need to say around this. It'd be great to get
Well,
more of your history.
in that case, I'll start with my schooling career, because I wasn't very studious. I spent most of my time on the outside looking in, and hence I ended up in labouring positions. So I was quite a big fit lad, playing footy and rodeo circuit and motocross and the odd pub brawl here and there, and basically I had a nasty injury at work, and lost movement from like round about my stomach down. So I had no movement for about 10 months, and I went from 118 kilos to 67 kilos in 10 months. So I thought, well, I kind of can't keep doing what I'm doing, so I'm going to go back to school. So I decided to go to TAFE, and I studied heritage and interpretive tourism. I studied multiculturalism, Aboriginal Torres Strait, a few other things to complement the industry, and got into tour guiding. So I worked for some great companies, Adventure Company Australia and places like that. It was a whole lot of fun, and it was actually nice to get up and go to work. It was a big change from crawling out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and forcing yourself off to work. So it was actually enjoyable. I was getting paid to play, and it opened a lot of doors. So I ended up as a ranger guide, or 2IC, for Skyrail International Tourism Management. And through a chain of unfortunate events, I ended up back in my small country town of Miles, where I was born and bred. I won't say that's where I grew up, because I haven't grown up yet, but it's where I was born and bred. And basically, I ended up with the job of raising my 3 little girls as a sole parent. So I was doing all sorts of stuff, and with a crook back and all the like. So concreting, lawn mowing, carpet cleaning, all sorts of things. But I was offered some work with Education Queensland at the Columbilla Environmental Education Centre, which is a small facility between Miles and Chinchilla. And great facility, a lot of fun. I was playing with the kids and just having a whale of a time. And of course, a lot of evenings we would spend around the campfire. So in all that, we used to make dampers and the odd stew or roast, depending on what the school wanted to do. But I received a phone call after one camp from a gentleman who runs quite large expos and shows all over Queensland. And he said to me, "Look, mate, old Tomo's getting a bit unreliable." He was cook at the time, Frank Thompson, a bush cook, and bless his little heart. He said to me, "Would you be interested in doing some camp oven cooking demonstrations at my shows?" And I said, "Mate, if you are stupid enough to let me in front of the general public, I'll have a crack at it." So
Yeah.
that was 2010, and pretty much I've been on the road for 6 months a year ever since. So it's been a whole lot of
Wow.
fun, met some great people. It's just an amazing lifestyle. While I'm traveling from show to show, I often have the opportunity to pull up on a little water hole and wet a line and have a couple of cold beers. If I'm very lucky, I get to spend a few days to have a look around. So it's a really good lifestyle. So that's kind of
Fantastic.
how I got into all of the camp oven cooking. Yeah.
Amazing. 10 years now you've been doing it. And what are some of the highlights in that time for you?
Oh, look, heck, there's so many. I'm not sure where to start with. Some of the people that I've met, I never thought I'd ever rub shoulders with, and some of them have taken me under wing a little and given me a few tips and helped me out here and there. I've had opportunities with Paul Burt and Scott Hillier, and oh, look, it's just been an amazing journey. Some of the most, as I say, the highlights, while I'm traveling, I have the opportunities to see things. So I got to dip my toe in the ocean down in Victoria, did the Great Ocean Road, and Mount Kosciuszko I've climbed to the top of. My geography is actually getting better. So, so just some of the places I've been and seen and always wanted to visit, and now when I can actually turn up that road. Like, I've driven past these signs so many times over the years, and I go, I wonder what's up there, but you haven't got time to stop. Well, now I can go, blow it, I'm going to go and have a look. So I'll go and have a look in places. So I've seen some amazing parts of the country that I've always wanted to see, and yeah, it sort of gives me the time to do that. So I'm not sure about highlights, Aldwyn. Certainly one of the biggest ones, I have to say, was doing a world record damper in Charleville last year in July. So that was an amazing thing to be involved with and watch all come together.
Now, tell us the story about that. I'm sure people are curious. How did you come to be involved with the world record damper?
Well, look, it is quite an interesting story. There's a gentleman out at Charleville, and I've become quite good friends with him. His name's Greg Purvis, and he has, most people have Friday afternoon session, but he has Monday afternoon sessions, so probably to do with shift work or whatever, I'm not sure. But he was sitting in the shed with his neighbour one evening, and he's looking on the wall, and here's this photograph. And he said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, that's a world record damper that we did in Charleville in 1994. We made a 75-metre long damper." He said, "Oh, really?" So he Googled it, and he found that in 2006, a Swedish scout group beat the record at 125 metres. Now, as soon as he said that to me, I just went, "Our iconic Australian bread, that's damn right un-Australian. We better do something about that." So we started making the plans, and Greg did a lot of the footwork and got people in, like the local council and Chef's Choice Charcoal and different sponsors on board, and there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, of course, to get it all up and running. And yeah, we showed up in Charleville and just got into it. The damper was 153.002 metres long. It weighed in just under 400 kilos cooked. And it was
Wow.
amazing, Alden. I have to say, I was proud as punch when I lifted the lid on this big long trench that we cooked the damper in, and it was all one colour for 153 metres. I just went, wow, look at that. That is so amazing. That heat control is just perfect. So it worked out really good. It was very impressive. Um, just an amazing thing to be involved with, to see it all come together from 7:30 in the morning, lighting fires, right through to when we set the damper, and then 25 minutes later it was all over.
Wow. Wow. And you fed the whole of Charleville with it as well.
Oh, look, yeah, no, there was plenty of fed. That we had damper eating competitions. We had damper and Cocky's Joy. There was curry and stew to have with it the night, and some people even had the opportunity to take half-metre lengths of it along with them. And of course, part of it was it did
Wow.
have to be consumed. So
Yeah, fantastic.
lots of
Wow.
fun.
I can just imagine. What are the ingredients of damper actually? It's probably quite simple ingredients, but I can just imagine getting all the ingredients together. What did all that take?
The ingredients of a damper, the basic traditional damper is just flour, salt, water. That's it. So that's pretty much
Okay.
what that's what the record damper was. So flour, salt, water is your basic damper. While I was out there and had the lovely coals, there's some beautiful timber out around places like that to cook with. Gidgee would have to be one of the oh, look, God's gift to those who cook. It's amazing timber to cook with, very hot and holds coals for a long time and consistent heats. So while we were out there, I decided, well, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to put a book together. So I put a book called the World A World of Dampers, and it has 101 different damper recipes in it. And in due respect, I could have made it 1,001. You could just keep going, but it was more to encourage people to play with their food and have a bit of fun with what they're doing. So
Fantastic. And what are some of your favorite recipes that you've cooked up?
as far as damper goes,
Not well, yeah, damper. Let's talk about damper and any other. We'll get to curry as well. We're going to talk about your curry for COVID Father's Day cook up soon. But yeah, what
yeah.
are your favourite damper recipes and favourite recipes in general?
Oh, look, I have to say in that book, some of them were quite surprising. There was a tomato sauce damper, which is surprisingly good. Um, one of my favourites in there, though, would have to be the avocado and camembert. So it's an avocado damper with a wheel of camembert inside. So when you break it open, all the cheese oozes out, and yeah, it's pretty good. And there was also a hot dog damper that I made. So not only did I make it look like a hot dog, but it was stuffed full of hot dogs and mozzarella cheese and all that sort of stuff. So it was just a bit of fun, and no, pretty yum. But as far as favourite foods, look, I just like food. It's signature dishes are things like uh, roast silverside and veggies. Like not a lot of people are aware that you can actually roast silverside, but it is a traditional way of cooking it. Back in the day when we never had refrigeration, we'd store all our meat in drums of rock salt, and what that would
Oh,
do is dehydrate the meat to help it to keep and keep the woggy bugs out of it. When you
mm.
come to cook it, you'd rat around in the salt and pull out this lump of meat that was much like a house brick. So you'd drop it into a pot of boiling water for 10 or 15 minutes, which would rehydrate it, draw salt out of it, and then it would be roasted in the camp oven. So somewhere along the line, someone came up with the bright idea to boil the guts out of it and then have to add vinegar and bay leaves and all sorts of things to give it some flavour, I guess. In saying that, I've eaten some wonderful boiled silversides. I just prefer it roasted simply because it tastes like meat, not like vinegar, honey, bay leaf. Well, yeah. So
Right.
and quick and easy to do. Very quick recipe and easy to do. And
Got it.
I certainly love me stews and curries.
Yes. Yes, and of course,
Yeah,
curries are brilliant now with everyone worried so much around health. It's fantastic. Curries are really good for your immune system, right? Right now, curry for
certainly.
COVID.
Yes. Curries for
Yeah.
COVID, absolutely. look, it's people are becoming more and more aware that things like turmeric, garlic, chili, ginger are very good for your health and boost the immune system. So what I've decided to do, and it's had a lot to do with the climate of that the COVID's created. Being an edutainer, all my work stopped. So I thought, well, heck, what am I going to do? I've got to generate some income. So I've tried to do things over social media and YouTube and stuff like that. So I guess it's been good to have the time to do those sorts of things. But we come up with the bright idea of doing traditional and authentic Indian curry kits and making them not only tailored for the camp ovens, you can cook them in any pot, but just making them simple, traditional flavors, and just easy to cook and prepare. And I can tell you, the kits are coming out so good that they just fill the room with a pleasant aroma. It's like walking. I don't know. I've never been to India. Have you ever been to India?
I've only been to Bombay Airport, and I remember the smell was pretty crazy. It really stunk. I remember at that airport at the time. This is probably going
Didn't
back
smell like
20 years.
curry.
No, it did not smell like curry. No.
Oh, it only smelt like the after effects of curry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Although the
Yeah.
clothes and jewelry I love some of the Indian, the clothes and jewelry and all of that I think is fantastic. So it was great shopping, but I just had to hold my nose nearly the whole way through. So that was my experience of India.
Righto. I've never been to India, but I can say about my food, you got to get it India. So the curries are going really good. The curries are going really good. Great feedback. One of the testimonials I got, the lady actually said, "That's it for me. No more jars, no more packets of stuff. I'm getting these curries. Just a beautiful flavour. You can tailor them to suit the family, so it's up to you how much heat that you put in them." We had vindaloo last night, and got to say, I put a little bit too much chili in, but oh look, the flavors really come out with that chili. But if you're not a lover of that heat, well, you can tame it right down to suit your own flavor, and for the kids as well, of course. So lot of kids are a bit fussy, and I understand that. Yeah, those spices and the heat in the food isn't really suitable for the kids. You really have to wean them into it. So
Yes.
I found that really good. But as far as favourite foods go, Aldwyn, my mum's treacle bum pudding, the old man stew, puffed loons. Oh, look, the list goes on. And I've never been one to gripe about what food's on the table. Whatever's put there, you eat it, especially from a large family. And as I said, the old man worked all the time. He was a fettler. His last paycheck actually for the fortnight was $124, and that was working like 40 to 50-hour weeks. So we did do it quite tough at times, and I do recall one year we actually had to eat the dates off the calendar.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to visualize that. As you were talking about curries, I thought of the Johnny Cash song "Ring of Fire," and
Absolutely.
I do wonder whether Johnny Cash was into his curries.
I would dare say he would. It certainly makes you sing, doesn't it?
And that's the thing, to stay healthy, you got to make sure what goes in must come out, right? You don't want to be constipated
Absolutely.
for days.
You need to be regular. Curry will help you with that too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If that end of the world starts playing up on you, you're in all sorts of trouble.
Yes, absolutely. And you make these curries from scratch, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. I have all the spices and that which I order. Majority of them, except for ones which you can't get your hands on in Australia, are all produced in Australia. So all the product is or majority of the product is from Australia. So we're all Australian grown and produced. So that's a good thing. And I'm just putting together so that there's. I don't know about you lot, but in my cupboard for years and years, I've had these little jars of spices and everything, and they just stay in the cupboard. You move house, you take them with them, but they still stay in the cupboard. So
Mm.
to save you that bit of coin and save you the stress that when you do go there and it's either not there or it's gone nasty or whichever, they're all fresh, no preservatives, straight in the packet. All you have to do is open the envelope when it shows up in the mail. There's a spreadsheet in there. It will tell you what fresh produce to go and step by step instructions as to how to go through the process of cooking each individual curry. It even links to YouTube so that you can have a look at it in a PowerPoint presentation. So I've tried to make it as simple and a few different learning genres, I guess is the word. As I said, I'm not very studious, Aldwyn. I can tell you a story about my school days if you wish.
Sure. I'd love to hear a
Well,
story about your school days.
well, as I said, I wasn't very studious, and my older brother, he's 5 years older than me, and his name's Smelvin, and we're always looking for different ways of getting out of school. So one day, Smell reckons it's a good idea to eat a tube of toothpaste. So he gets to school with this horrible guts ache. You're smiling. You've done this, haven't you? You've eaten a tube of toothpaste to get out of school.
No.
All right. Well, if there's any kids listening, they might like to give it a try. But you didn't hear that from me. So he gets to school with this horrible tummy ache, and he says, "Oh, miss," he said, I'm not doing real good today. You're going to have to send me home today." And she's sort of starting to wake up to us a bit. And she said, "Look, I'm not even dealing with this today." She said, "You can just take yourself up to the principal's office and explain yourself to him." Now, just before lunchtime, I'm doing my daily trek up to the office, and I've hit the top stairs of the veranda. And outside the office, here's Smelvin, arms crossed, leaning against the wall, and his dack's down to his knees. I said, "Oh, Smell," I said, you're pushing your luck a bit today, mate, aren't you? He said, "No." He said, "I spoke with the principal, and he told me if I could stick it out till lunchtime, he'd let me go home."
That's hilarious. Oh, so funny. What a great name your brother has too, I must say. Smelvin. That's hilarious.
Well, there's stories with all that sort of thing, isn't there?
That is so funny. Now, with the curry kits, just back to all seriousness here. Now, there's a lot of people are vegetarian nowadays and vegan, etc. So they can use these curry kits with their vegetables too, right? You don't have to have meat with it. Do you have some?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, there's
Yeah.
certainly not every curry or spice is actually has meat as a base. So a lot of them do have vegetables. Some of the vegetables are included, like masalas, vindaloos, certain things like that. But yes, certainly there's vegetarian dishes. Like there's plenty of Indians over there. Some of them are certainly vegans and vegetarians. So
Mm,
there is a few
mm.
recipes in there that cater for that sort of thing.
Yeah, wonderful. For those who are vegan and vegetarian, you are catered for with
Yeah,
these curry kits.
yeah, if you're one of them, there's certainly things in there will suit the palate or the diet.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Well, it's a big trend now, the whole vegan vegetarian thing. There's a lot of people going that way. Each to their own. You know, that could be a whole other episode on whether to eat meat or not. But we're not here
I
to talk
love me
about that.
veggies.
Yeah,
I love me
yeah, I
veggies.
love
Well,
veggies.
in a way, we kind of are, Alden, because healthy eating is something that I'm very big on. Like, I'm not sure. Food has hidden messages in it. It'll tell you what it's good. It's actually good for you, food. If you eat it, it's actually good for you. I don't know if you're
Mm,
aware of that,
mm,
but it has hidden messages. I don't know if you remember your grandma saying to you, "Eat your carrots." You never see a
yes,
rabbit wearing glasses. And if you
yes,
cut a carrot and have a look at it, it looks just like an iris. So there's a little hidden message in most vegetables or foods that you can put down to helping you to stay healthy and heal your
yes.
body.
Yes, like walnuts look like our brains and they're good for the brain. Red kidney beans, good for your kidneys. We've got celery, looks like your
Absolutely.
bones, good for your bones. We've got tomatoes, has
Yeah.
got 4 chambers like the heart, good for the heart. So I learned all about this with Don
You're all over
Tolman.
this.
Don Tolman is amazing, and of course Tyler Tolman now
Absolutely.
teaching this kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And broccoli is really
Fascinating.
good for your lungs. It's
That's
amazing when
right.
you look
Sweet
into it. You
potato.
know,
If you're a diabetic, my brother was actually, or one of my brothers, not Smelvin, Frank, he was he he was he was a diabetic and relied on insulin, so he had to give himself a jab in the bowel every day. Now he put 2 serves of sweet potato into his diet every day, and within 12 months he was no longer dependent on insulin. He was still a diabetic, but
wow.
not dependent on insulin. So there's something to be said in that. And of course, we can't
Mm.
forget the old banana, can we? We got to go there, haven't we?
Yes, yes. And what are
Yeah.
bananas good for? For your nose, perhaps.
Anything below the belt.
Yeah. And avocados are very good for females. It takes 9 months for an avocado to mature, and they're good for a lady's, ovaries or reproductive area there. So
And they have a
fascinating.
seed inside. Yeah, they have a
They
seed growing
do. They have a
inside.
seed, just like a baby.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So, yeah, I do think staying active and eating well is a very important part of your lifestyle.
Absolutely. And particularly now with this, COVID fiasco that's been going on, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, that's happening currently. We're certainly in interesting times. And it's very important to be conscious of what you're thinking during this time and what you're eating, because a lot of people also emotionally eat. And if they're stressed or if they have high anxiety, they may eat more chocolate and things like that, which is going to make you even sicker. And the fear, if you have fear around COVID and what's going on here at the moment as well, that will also make you sick. So it's important to find ways to relax and to eat healthy. Like these curry kits is a fantastic way to do it. Make sure you clean the gut out, because a lot of issues happen in the gut as well, right? It's where a lot of health
Absolutely.
issues
Most
a lot of
certainly. Yep.
health issues in the gut. So you've got an amazing thing you've organised for Father's Day. Can we talk a bit about that? Father's Day, of course, being this Sunday. Can you believe it? It's come so quickly. This Sunday's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And for Father's Day, happy Father's Day for you too, Ranger Nick, for Sunday. And what are you going to be doing for the public on Father's Day?
Oh, we're going to be having a play. So I'm doing a live stream because I haven't been able to get out and entertain. I thought, well, I'll do a live stream cooking demonstration and whack together one of my curries. We're doing a Rogan Josh, which is one of my favourites, and just have a bit of fun throughout. So you're likely to hear, oh gosh, there'll be some BS flying, very likely. So there'll be a few yarns and maybe a few ballads and a bit of bush poetry. Who knows what's going to come out there, but. Um, I don't know how I'll go without a crowd in front of me, because usually I get prompted by the crowds, and that can get pretty dangerous. Actually, you never know where that's going to go. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, we'll just have a bit of fun around the fire. I'm considering lighting a fire, but I think that we'll stick with charcoal briquettes, which are an alternative fuel. So we'll do a bit of bring people up to speed on how to use them, and they're quite a clean fuel, so there's not a lot of smoke, and there's no issue with using them in your backyard and things like that. So a lot of people are going down that track simply for that reason, especially these city folk. Like I'm pretty lucky. I'm not a townie anymore. I'm out in the sticks a bit, so I got plenty of fresh air and sunshine out here. So yeah, I think we'll go down that track and educate people a little bit about those sorts of things and how to use them, and we'll knock up a curry and maybe a little bit of naan, or what's that other bread? I shouldn't say curry munchers, should I? But the Indians, what's that other bread they eat? I am
Good question.
Australian. I've got to apologise for statements like that, but they do slip out. But being an ignorant Aussie, it does come out every now and again, but it's only in jest.
Yes, yes, of course. And you've had Indian people actually love your curries too, right?
Most certainly, most certainly. I was recently at a gig that I did at Timbertown in Warhope, and if you've never been there, I suggest you go and have a look, especially if you like the old engines, old machinery, and that sort of stuff. But there was a gentleman in the audience who was very, very much Indian, and of course, me being Australian, I said, "Well, you'd have to be Indian, wouldn't you?" And he said, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." I'm going, "All right." I said, "Well, can you give me some honest feedback, very critical input here? I'm doing a chicken masala, and I'd like you to have a taste of it and just let me know what you think." So he tasted it, and of course, the first thing he said to me was, "It's not hot enough." I went, "Well, I knew you'd say that, but I've got to cater for a whole audience, so I've got to tone it down a bit for the Aussies." And he went, "Yep." He said, "Well, the flavour is certainly there." He said, "It's just not hot enough for me." So that was very good feedback. I found that quite flattering, actually.
That's great feedback, because you can always add extra chili, right? You can add extra spice, so to your liking.
Absolutely, yep.
That's great feedback. And you've also got curry kits to give away. Is that correct, on Father's Day?
Yeah, there's a downside to that too. I've hit the 5-0, which I guess at least I've made it. They tell me that the more birthdays you have, the longer you live. So
yes.
I've made it to 50. So I'm giving away 50 spice kits on the day. Yeah. So there's 50 spice kits up for grabs.
Up for grabs. Fantastic. And so for people to get access to that, to see you do your live stream, where should they go on Father's Day, and what time are you going to be live streaming?
Yep, 11 o'clock we'll be live streaming through Facebook, Ranger Nick Bush Cook. All you have to do is join in. Just, hit the button. I'm not sure how these computer machine thingies really work, but hit the right button and you'll see me there on Facebook making a fool of myself.
Fantastic. So like the page Ranger Nick Bush Cook on Facebook, and then people will see the live stream there. 11 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time this Sunday for Father's Day. We're going to have Ranger Nick cooking up a feast. And are we going to hear any of that amazing bush poetry that you do, that at the last Mass Media Tribe meetup, people were dying to hear your bush poetry, and we ran out of time at that event, but maybe we could get a taste of it even on this show. Are you up to present some bush poetry for us?
Absolutely, absolutely. They always seem to pop out, and seems you mentioned there's one comes to mind there. It's a little lyric that I've picked up over the years. There was a young girl from Ballarat who had triplets, Nat, Pat and Tat. It was fun in the breeding, but hell in the feeding, because there was never enough tit for tat.
Oh, I love it. That's great. That's great. You just remember that off the top of your head. That's amazing. How many different...
There is a wealth of useless information in my head. If I could retain things that were useful, I'd be a very intelligent human being.
Any other ones you'd like to share?
Oh, look, I can rattle little bits and pieces off there. Well, sometimes they get a bit loose, but there's one that I wrote about myself. There's one that I wrote about myself, and I promise I'll only say one rough word in amongst it. But the title of the poem is called Arses. So there was a young lad named Nicholas, and he wandered through the long grass. He came upon a circus, lifted up the canvas, saw a lady's bare ass, stuck it with a compass. Wasn't that ridiculous?
That's fantastic. I love your humour. It's so funny. You're like a stand-up comic. Well, actually, right now you're sitting down, so a sit-down comic at the moment. Although on Father's Day, no doubt you'll be a stand-up comic and a bush cook. I love it, and it is about educating and entertaining people nowadays. People really need laughter, don't they? And it's so good for you to laugh. Have you always had a great sense of humour, Nick?
Oh, look, you either laugh, cry, or go around the bend, Aldwyn. So I think it's a good way to see jest in things, learn to laugh at yourself so you can take the mickey out of others, all that sort of stuff. So I guess working in as a labourer and on work sites and things like that, the Australian men really good at taking the mickey out of each other, and that you can cop a real hard time. And some of the terms of endearment I shan't repeat, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, some of the name calling and the likes, they're terms of endearment. It's not at all offensive. So it's only how you take it on board. My mum always said sticks and stones will break your bones and names will never hurt you. And I really took that on board because with all the bullying and stuff that goes on in schoolyards and all the rest, you could just look at these kids and go, is that the best you got? So rather than take it on board, just let it slip. I mean, it's been really good. And I mean, I don't think I'd be able to do what I do, like stand in front of an audience and make a fool of myself, I guess, if I never had that attitude and that drummed into me as a child. Thanks for
And
that,
it's
Mum.
important. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a good point. And it's important to remember too that hurt people, and not to take things personally when someone's being nasty. You know, I was bullied as a kid, and I think, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. And, you know, many years later, I found out that hurt people and stopped taking things so personally. And I think that's
Yeah.
really important to be able to have a laugh because, you know, we're all human beings. We're all giving it our best shot at life, aren't we? You know, we're doing the best we can here. And I think part of the trick to life, I think, is to finding something that you really love and doing that. And it seems to me with you, Ranger Nick, that you absolutely love what you do, and it really does shine through whenever we see you anywhere. You just have this way about you that you just glow. You're just amazing, and you make people laugh all the time. And you're just you. You know, you're authentically you. You're out there. You're Aussie as they come. And you know what's interesting about this too is that you have an amazing partner who has got German background, right? The amazing Jutta Swan, who I've known for many, many years. Amazing lady, and she, you know, she is such a great supporter of you, and you know, such an amazing lady. And so, as Aussie as you are, you know, she has a German accent. I don't know how many years Jutta's been here in Australia now, but you know, it's quite
Close
an
to
interesting
30.
30 years. It's an interesting combo, the two of you, you know, like because you are just so out there Aussie, and you know, and she's very
Yeah.
Aussified too, with an accent, with a German accent. So I find it fascinating. So have you had as an Aussie guy, have you had a fascination for European women, or was it some spark you saw in Jutta that drew you to her when you met? Oh, we've lost you,
General,
Nick. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're there. Oh, you're back. Here we go. We've got technological issues.
like
I know that. Oh,
she
there we go.
yeah, there we're back again there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she certainly keeps me in line, and when she says no, you know that she means
Yeah.
no. That's a definite.
Yeah.
Um, but she's a very hard worker, very clever lady, just incredible. I'm always in awe of how she solves problems, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to put a rope around my neck in saying this, but she's one of the few females that I know that have some sort of logical thinking, if that's at all possible.
Yes.
But she's very good at problem solving, and I don't really know what I would do without her, especially when it comes to the technology and stuff like that. Because heck, I'm hopeless with these computer machine thingies, and I really rely on her for that, and I'm very grateful that she puts the time and hours in that she does on the computer, because I have a very short attention span when it comes to, and I lose it pretty quick with the computers, where I find them unreliable and inefficient, if you will. If I pick up a hammer in the shed, I know exactly what that's going to do. So
Yes.
yeah, so I spend most of my time outside. I love outside. So most of my time spent outside, and every now and then she drags me in to help us sort a few things out, like with email campaigns and Facebook posts and all that type of stuff. So I am very grateful for such a marvellous lady in my life. Yes, thank you, Yuda.
Yes, thank you, Yuta. Amazing lady, amazing. Sending you lots of love here, Yuta. No doubt you'll be watching this somewhere. And this brings me
Trying to
to the
score a
importance.
few brownie points.
Exactly, exactly. You should get lucky
Yeah.
tonight, Ranger Nick. Hopefully, with any luck.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Probably be bad luck. Probably.
so, so this brings me to the point of the importance also of love, of having love in your life and having a great team around you and having people that support you through this journey. Because I know now a lot of people are feeling very lonely right now, particularly with all this social isolation and the lockdown and all of these restrictions on people's freedom. So I think, people who are in relationships probably don't feel that as much, that isolation and, reaching out, and the importance of having people that you love, even that you reach out to, even through technology, through phone calls or video calls or whatever it is. How important has that been for you, having Yuta by your side and having that strong support there in your family life and also your children, no doubt. How's it been for
Oh,
you?
yeah. Look, well, we're certainly not seeing enough of the kids. We're missing the kids a bit. Um, but yeah, as far as a couple of individuals, and I can kind of say that I do believe that if you're a couple, you're still individual. So
Yes.
yeah, we haven't killed each other yet, I suppose. But yeah, it's nice. We're doing more and more things together, of course. But you still need your own space, and both you and I do like to get out on our own and spend time alone. So sometimes we'll just go off into the scrub, take the motorbike out, find a little place to sit and meditate or contemplate, or I won't say masturbate, but anything like that, anything, just you do need time on your own as well, a bit of self space. And
Yeah.
I love putting myself in situations, and it's part of the reason I love inland Australia. I like to be put in a position where everything is so big that it makes me feel insignificant. It just does
Mm,
something for my soul. It really boosts me up. Mm.
yeah, it's a wonderful thing about being out amongst nature. It's so important to get that grounding, to be out in the bush, and you are the bush cook,
Yeah,
the celebrity bush cook. So you're amongst it and you're encouraging that too, which is wonderful. So yeah, really great, really great. And yeah, this is the thing. There's certain things we can't control in life. What you can control is how you're going to respond to what happens in life. And on the point of relationships, with all relationships right now, I think a lot of people also are feeling, life can be fragile at any moment. You may lose people around you. So with all the people you have in your life, there's 3 C's they say to relationships, to all relationships. One is commitment. One is commitment. The other is compromise, compromising to other people's point of view. And the third is communication. And I think communication is one of the biggest things. Being able to communicate about whatever it is that's going on in a respectful, kind manner, I think is really, really crucial. Whether it's, family, friends, the fact is a third of people die by the age of 65. So it's very important to make the most of every moment. And if you have any gripes with anyone, I suggest look for ways that you can heal those wounds, or heal, because they say resentment is like taking the poison and you want someone else dead. So if you can find a way to have peace within yourself, then the ripple effect of that will roll on and will create a more peaceful world, I believe. So I think this is really important right now. And what are some other things you do, Ranger Nick, as far as health? So you get out amongst nature, you have healthy food. Do you grow your own veggies where you are? Have you got your own food there? Yeah.
yeah, as much as I can, and again, I have to thank COVID for that. It's given me an opportunity to really get the veggie patch up and running quite well.
Yes.
I I use all heirloom seeds so that I can reuse them, and I can be a bit of a doom and gloomer. So if we go down the track of GMOs and genetically modified things, which we won't,
Mm.
I do like all
Mm.
the natural type things, and fortunately I have an interest in botany as well, so I am able at times to identify some of the native plants and be able to use them as well. I seem to have a better knowledge in the wet tropics area on that subject, but there are things around the property here that we can certainly use, and even in urban areas throughout the city, it'd be amazing what sort of weeds you can pull out of the lawn and eat, or up the footpath. Things like pigweed and the likes. It's quite amazing how much food's around you. It's one of the statements made in journals, I guess, over the years with our early explorers. They've perished with so much food around them.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can eat that you don't realise you can eat. It's quite phenomenal when you look at bush tucker. Maybe we could do a whole session on bush tucker sometime. Now, you do,
Yep, it's a big
yeah,
subject.
bush tucker. Yeah, I've had pig's feet before. The little at the beach, little pig's feet. It's called little sort of like a seed,
Yep,
little berry thing.
yep,
Not real pig's feet, but like like the plant. So look it
yep,
up if you don't
yep.
know. Pig's foot. It's called pig's foot. So yes, check it out. Fascinating. Now you also do retreats, Ranger Nick. Could you tell us a bit about your retreats that you do?
Yeah, workshop retreats. We've been running some during the COVID period. We've been running some out of Grafton at the Clarence River B&B, which is an absolutely mesmerising place. It's very enchanted place to visit, right on the river. The people who own it do a marvellous job of running it and catering for people while they're there. It's 4.5 star. It's just a beautiful place to visit, very, very peaceful environment. So we've been getting small groups there of around about half a dozen people over 2 days and running classes. So bringing them up to speed, educating them on different timbers, heat control, different cooking techniques and that sort of thing. So at the end of the evening on the Saturday, I just dump it on them, I guess, but it's their turn. So once I've gone through demonstrations and cooked them dinner and lunch and all that sort of thing, and of course how to make a perfect damper, that's something people always would like to do.
Yes.
Yeah, they have the opportunity of preparing the last meal for the weekend. So, and so far so good. They've all come out very good. Very, very well done to all those involved, I have to say, and a lot of
Fantastic.
fun.
Fantastic.
The giggles around the
Yeah.
fire, especially when they start on the what do you call it? The beverages.
Ah, yes. The drinking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Yes.
been yes, there's been a few Corona flus come out of it, I have to say.
Ah,
Or flag and flus, more to the
right.
point, I guess.
Right.
Mm.
As long as you put some lemon or lime with it, at least you're getting your health kick in there as well, right?
Oh well, in history, with every bad turn of events, alcohol's always been a very important part of that. So,
Yeah.
very, very medicinal fluid, very medicinal indeed.
Yes, yes, fantastic. And you have several books out, don't you? You've done the damper one, but before that, you had a few other books. So could you share about that, please?
Yeah, the first book that I put together it was in tribute to my folks, my mum and dad, bless their little hearts. I miss them every day, Aldwyn. I really do. Um, it's a book with very traditional type recipes and using basically what's in the tucker box. So I think some of the best meals that people prepare is when the tucker box or the cupboard's getting empty. They get quite creative. These traditional Aussie type meals, stick to your ribs type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, as I've mentioned, treacle bum pudding and scones and stews and all sorts of stuff in there that are quite traditional type meals. So it's called "You Should Be Walking With Me When I'm Walking by Myself."
Mm.
And the second book, I actually, through my back injuries, I was taking a lot of medication, anti-inflammatories and painkillers and things like that. And I always would put it out there. I'm a bit of a believer. If you put things out there in a positive way, you'll get a positive response. So over the years, I visited different doctors. I shouldn't call them quacks, but I'm gonna. So visited different quacks, trying to get different results. I was getting put in the same machines, getting the same tests, and inevitably on the same medication. Um, I ended up seeing a holistic doctor one day, whom Yuta advised me that she sees and it was very good. So I went and had a chat to her, and she just blew my mind. She could tell me so much about my own self just by looking at my eyes and getting me to do these little exercises and things. And she said, you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to pee, you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to pee. That's your kidney and liver playing up. She said, through the medication you've been taking over the years, it stripped your stomach lining, and your stomach's leaking undigested food into your bloodstream, which is growing a mold all through your body, and it's known as candida. So
Wow.
I'm going to put you on a candida diet. So basically it was a little bit of a detox, but a change in diet, and I had to cut yeast and sugar out of my diet. And I thought to myself, well, if I've got to change my diet and play with the food, I'm going to whack this book together. So that's how that book came about, and it's Soul Food for the Non-Carnivorous Biped. So that was the second book that I put together. And for those who aren't a fan of a vegetarian diet, most of us do eat veggies with our steaks and roasts. So there's some really good recipes in there to complement your meat.
Wow. Yeah. Is that like a leaky gut syndrome? What you had there? Was it leaky gut?
I'm not familiar with leaky gut, but it sounds along the line. But as you said earlier, your stomach health is very important. But basically, candida was what I got as a result of my stomach leaking undigested food into the bloodstream.
I think that is quite a common thing, actually, and I think a lot of people don't realise they have it, and probably people who experience bloating, etc., gas, constipation.
Lethargic, tired all the time.
Yeah, irritable bowel syndrome, all those things. So you might want to go and get that checked up if that's you, or have some curry, have more water and have some curry and wash it all out.
That's right. And I can tell you, one of the things when I say cut yeast and sugar out, the first thing people say, oh, you can't drink beer. Not drinking beer was not an issue. That was not a hard thing for me not to do. However, walking past new season cherries and nectarines and all the stone fruits, I found that quite hard.
Yeah, interesting. And you can get organic beers nowadays as well, which I don't think have the yeast and all of that in it. I think the organic wines you can get, organic beers. So I guess look for alternatives on that too, so you don't, you can avoid those nasties. But sugar, sugar and anything, anything white is not good, generally.
Yeah, no, sugar's very, very toxic. I try and avoid that as much as I can.
Yeah.
But in due respect, it's only a short period which you go on the diet. Like it was probably about 10 to 12 months or something like that. And I felt on top of the world. I had a lot less trouble with my back.
Okay.
So that was good. I had a lot more energy. I felt better. I even believe my vision was even a bit better. It even improved. So my looks didn't, though. I still looked the same.
It's important to love yourself as you are, whether you think you're ugly or not. Celebrate the fact that you have a fully functioning body. A lot of people don't, right? So whenever if I find myself in whinge mode, I think of the guy called Nick Vujicic, who's got no arms and no legs. He's one of the most inspiring speakers I have ever seen. And, I always remember Nick Vujicic, and I think he's amazing. Now, I want to talk about camp ovens, because a lot of people here maybe watching this from overseas, etc., probably have no idea what a camp oven is or what makes a good camp oven. Are there good and bad camp ovens? Can you just share tell me more about camp ovens, types of camp ovens?
Camp oven or Dutch oven. In Australia, we refer to them as camp ovens, and generally what they are is a cast iron pot. So as simple as that. So they're just cast iron. Cast iron is probably one of, if not the most healthiest surface to cook and eat off. It gives you iron intake. It's if you manage them right, they're very healthy to eat out of. There are different mediums, of course, like the Baduri oven. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Baduri oven, but it has very significance in Australia. If you can imagine in a cattle camp where we're loading up pack horses and we've got these big heavy cast iron ovens on the horse. The extra weight wears the horses out and all the like. So if those ovens happen to fall off the horse and hit the ground, they're likely to break because cast iron is quite brittle, so it doesn't like to be jarred, and it doesn't like going from extremely hot to cold. So it's prone to crack in events of that. But if you do look after them, and mine get a bit of a rough time, but I do look after them, you'll have them for a lifetime. So these couple of young ringers who happen to be from Baduri come up with the bright idea to make an oven out of spun steel. And the Baduri oven was born. So it's specifically designed to go on a saddle pack. It's lightweight and it's very durable. So the Baduri oven was born, in Baduri from these couple of ringers. So there's some really amazing and interesting history about cast iron and camp ovens in general. Probably the largest one I've ever cooked in was made from a tractor rim. It was 400 litres. So they get quite large. So there was actually a station, I'm not sure where, there are people out there that'll tell you the guts of the story or all the history, but to cut that, just as a basic story, through this station, when the cattle camp moved through, the property owners went, wow, those ovens are fantastic. We need to get some of these for our workers so that when we're out droving, we can cook meals like this. And so they rang a foundry to get the cast iron pots made and said, well, do we need to send one in so you can make a mould, or what have we got to do? And they said, no, just measure the camp oven and send us the measurement and we'll make them for you. So they measured the camp oven, and when we measure camp ovens, we measure the diameter. In this case, they measured the circumference. So instead of getting a 24-inch oven, they got a 36-inch oven. They're actually the largest cast iron camp ovens ever produced, at least in Australia. So quite amazing if you see those. Yeah. So there's some great history. They're becoming very popular, especially as collector items. Look, you could probably get into a debate with a lot of people over it. They say that all these vintage type ovens are just the Mickey Mouse in ovens. They're very good to cook with, and they are. They're very good to cook with, and certainly the nostalgia's there as well, the history and nostalgia from Furphy and Metters and all different types of foundries all over Australia, some even unmarked. When you think about it, because they sledge China and Chinese cast. Well, the Chinese have been making cast iron for over 5,000 years. So they kind of got it down pat. They're doing pretty good jobs with it. If you think about the period where these vintage ovens were made, and this is dating back even before the First and Second World Wars, where our diggers were using them. So if you have an old oven like that, there is a chance that it was used during the war and things like that. So they do have a lot of history. But in that time, there was a depression. So the last thing they were going to do with the metals was make cast iron ovens out of them. So a lot of them were just junk thrown together, and they cook fine. There's the medium is totally irrelevant to how good the oven is, at least in my opinion. It's how you control the heat and use the heat which gets the good results. So irrelevant to the medium, and I often show this when I demonstrate in shows using spun steel and cast iron, it's more about heat control than the actual medium that the ovens are made out of. In saying that, I love me cast iron ovens. I really do, and especially the older ones. There's something really special about them.
And I think food tastes better out of, certain things like this too. I think you can really taste the difference with different sort of pots and pans and things that you use. And I would imagine with a camp oven situation with the cast iron, the food would taste amazing out of that.
Absolutely. They seem to just get better and better with age, and flavours just come out. I can't really explain why, but even a barbecue over open coals or open fire seems to taste better than off a gas barbecue. I don't know whether it's the dirt and the ash that gets in there that gives it that extra special flavour, but there's certainly something about it that yeah, the tastes are just unique and amazing. You can put when you can put a roast beef and veggies into an oven, and people make comments like, you didn't even use seasoning. That's remarkable. That just tastes so good. That's the best meat that I've ever eaten. So what it is about them, I'm not 100% sure, but they seem to hold moisture in better and the flavors just evolve. I love cooking and eating out of them. That's how I keep such a girlish figure, Aldwyn.
Well, it's amazing what it can do. Oh, fantastic. Well, we've been chatting for nearly an hour. That has just flown. I'm so excited for your Father's Day event that you're putting on from
Yep,
New South Wales, out near Casino Way, out in New South Wales. That will
yep.
be a wonderful thing that you're doing for the community there. So again, remind people who've just joined us what is happening for Father's Day with your Curry for COVID campaign.
Yeah, so Father's Day, and with the current climate, I just wanted to do something to boost people up a bit, not only with their physical health but also mental health. If you're laughing, you're learning.
Yes,
It creates good in healthy endorphins and everything. Gets the juices flowing. So a good old belly laugh's always good for the health. So
yes.
hopefully we can entice that a little. But yeah, just a healthy lifestyle. 11 o'clock, we'll be live streaming demonstration out of my camp kitchen here at home onto Facebook. So Father's Day, 11 o'clock, live stream from Facebook. You'll be able to see me up there having a bit of a go at it, eh?
Fantastic. And which Facebook page do they go to?
Oh, Ranger Nick Bush Cook. If you want to check
Ranger
me
Nick.
out even more, just yeah, you can always wiggle, rangernick.com.au. Check out all the guff on there. There's heaps of stuff happening. It's really evolved, and again, thanks to you who does all that sort of stuff for me. It's really remarkable, and it's nice to have family, friends that I've known for years and years. And one thing I actually get out of a lot of my mates say to me, I say, "Do you like cooking?" I said, "Well, I like eating." So inevitably, I have to cook, if there's a lazy way of doing something, I'd like to know about it. It's your quickest, easy, simplest techniques. Chuck it on, go fishing. When I come back, my dinner's ready. So things like that are really good. So I do try to encourage people to keep things simple, play with their food, and just have a bit of fun around the campfire. Get out in the fresh air and sunshine. It's really good for you. Your grandma will tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what are some of your future goals, Ranger Nick, before we wrap up?
Future goals. That's a very good question, Aldwyn. I think there's a couple of things I got in the pipeline which I would like to see go ahead. I keep coming against brick walls, but there's a little idea I've had for a documentary that I would like to put together. I won't say too much about it because I'd like to keep that under wraps a little bit, and hopefully I can get that up and happening. Um, yeah, but just get a bit more exposure, get out there, try and teach people more about the great outdoors. I have online training programs for the outdoor enthusiasts. It not only covers camp ovens, but four-wheel driving, fishing, knot tying, how to sharpen a knife, tow ball and payloads when you're pulling caravans. There's some really good information on there. You can find that on the website as well. But yeah, just try and get things out there. And long term, I think what I'd like to do is to be able to build myself up to a point. So rather than be running around all over the place from show to show, and that I can do a lot of the stuff from home and generate an income more from home, and be able to help people out in future. Just give back in that way. So yeah,
Mm,
sort of as a community thing, not take, but always give back. And that's why I like to do a few fundraisers each year. I usually put my hand up for a few things like that when asked. So
wonderful.
it's
And
good
you
to
work
give
with this.
back. It's a lovely feeling.
It's wonderful. And they say give more than you receive to receive more than you give. It's just how the law of reciprocity works. So always be, looking to be of service. There's no greater purpose than being of service, as they say. Wonderful. Well, you certainly are a joy to have around, Ranger Nick. You just light up the room with your personality and with all that you do, with the passion that you bring to what you do. And I think you're certainly someone who people can look up to and admire for the passion that you have and for the joy that you bring to people's lives. So thank you so much for being with us today. Any final words before we wrap up?
Oh, off the top of my mind, I can't come up anything. There's one little problem I have is the left side of my brain, and nothing's right, and on the right side there's nothing left. But, so, look, I'd just like to. It'd be nice to see as many people online join in on Sunday, have a bit of fun. You never know, you might even learn something. You never know, the chances are high. So come and have a play, and we'll see you when the mud's dry. Thanks for having me, Aldwyn.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ranger Nick. And if you have just joined us, we've been chatting with celebrity bush cook Ranger Nick, coming to us live from New South Wales. He is doing a very special curry for COVID cook-up and performance on Father's Day this Sunday at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And he will be giving away 50 curry kits as well on the day in celebration of his 50th year on the planet. Happy birthday and happy Father's Day to you, Ranger Nick. So please do join him. It's going to be on Ranger Nick Bush Cook on the Facebook page, and also check out rangernick.com.au, where you can actually get yourself some curry kits and check out all the other programs and offerings that Ranger Nick has. A big thank you to Jutta for all the great work you do as well, Jutta, behind the scenes. And I know you don't like to be on camera, but I'd just like to publicly say I think you're amazing. And so are you, Ranger Nick. Thank you so much again for being with us today. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, then please pop a like under this. Pop some comments. What did you get out of today's show? Maybe you have some health tips that you'd like to share with us. What are some things you'd like to share? Or maybe you would like to share what is your favourite curry. Love to hear from you in the chat. Thanks once again. I'm Aldwyn Altuney, Media Queen, signing out today with Ranger Nick. And big happy Father's Day to all the dads out there for this Sunday. And we'll chat with you again soon. Bye for now.